it's 8 sessions, and so that's 8 hours. So I'm gonna squish 8 hours into a half hour. All right. I think I found a way to do it. I'm not sure. I told Holly 3 days ago I found a way, and I told her 2 days ago I found another way, and I found another one today. So I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work, I apologize. And here's another apology to begin with. The homework assignment, which a lot of you have done, which I think is really cool, should have included the short story, The Things That Carry. It was my bad. I thought we might end up doing what we did. We are going to end up doing. But if you did get a chance, I know many of you did, to read that story, you know that it's a corker, and it's the most anthologized of all of his stuff, and he is in a lot of anthologies. It's a great story, and I wish I had assigned it, but I didn't, as they say in Cleveland. So here's what we're going to do. If you got the email about my apology about the dedication business, the poor person in the
advancement office
understood quite correctly, as he or she should have, to copy the dedication that Tim put in the book for me. Okay, that's not what I meant. Though it's nice it's there. What I meant is his dedication of the book in the very beginning. And I'd like to start there. And start with that dedication. Will someone read it for us? Anybody got it at hand? Yeah?
This book is
No, not that. Sorry.
This book is lovingly dedicated to the men of Alpha Company, and in particular to Jimmy Cross, Norman Booker, Rat Kiley, Mitchell Sanders, Henry Dobbins, and Kiowa.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so, excuse me. This is a novel, and he's lovingly dedicated this novel to these friends of his from Alpha, right? No.
No?
Not right. No. Now, here's a word to lift your hat to. To lift your hat to, as Emily Dickinson likes to say. And again, that word is from very from veritas, meaning truth, similar to truth. The Deb and I did an independent study in 19th century Russian novelists, what, 3 or 4 years ago. And one of the things we ran into there was, this is kind of smooth, but anyway. Can you see this?
that word marker here for you, Pete.
Oh, this is working. Turgenev was famous for this. Okay? I don't remember the others who did it. Well, good to go. What he's doing here is the same thing O'Brien's doing with his dedication. Why would you say in the village of blank? Remember Dragnet? Anybody here old enough to remember Dragnet? Yeah? What's he start out with?
City of LA.
Yeah. What was his name?
Jack.
Jack. Yeah. He started out by saying the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Excuse me. But I mean, really? Come on. In the village of blank? Why would you do that?
Okay, so verisimilitude is truth and likeness and truth.
Yes. And so the blank?
Fact and fiction is.
It is. But it's more specifically?
The local and the universal.
Even more specifically? No, you're not wrong. He's doing this because he wants you to believe that he's covering up the name of a village, an actual village, right? He's not. Tim O'Brien's not dedicating this book to friends of his from Alpha Company. What he's doing is setting you up for the entire book. And we're going to focus on one part of the book in order to better understand it. But what he's doing, Holly knows this very well. Tim is a magician, an accomplished magician. I mean, he did some tricks at Moxie that had a lot of people hanging around the table. I mean, he's really, really good at it. A magician's job is to make you believe that what he's doing is really magic. Pure and simple. He's going to come out there and say, hi, I'm a magician, and you're going to see tricks, and you're going to believe that they're real tricks when I'm done. Yeah? That's what O'Brien's doing in this book and in The Lake of the Woods. The Lake of the Woods is the narrator, the protagonist, who's either one, is a magician and was when he was a boy. So what O'Brien's telling you here is that I'm going to give you something that's not, that's for verisimilitude, but I'm not, these guys never existed. He's going to tell you that as he goes on. But one of the things that I really like about his work, and there are many, many things that I like about his work, is that he comes out and says, I'm going to trick you. I'm going to make you believe something that's not true, and then step back from it and say, there, you believe it. Did you read about Marianne Bell? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah, the girl with pink culottes from Cleveland Heights. Yeah. Who starts out with a strawberry ice cream complexion and ends up with a necklace of tons. Yeah. I mean, come on! Okay? But what he's doing is saying, look how I can trick you. Because that's the business of storytelling. Pure and simple. And so what I've decided to do, what I want to do, and I want to preface it by saying that you're welcome to ask questions at any time. Not like how's the soup, but something that maybe is pertinent. Katie didn't come.
No, she thought it wasn't just an intimate group today. You said you're all to yourself here.
Whoops, there, I see a slip. Where was it? Oh, so what I'm going to give you a kind of a rundown kind of thing, squeezing this whole thing into a half an hour somewhere, of what Tim is doing in this book. And it goes like this. I think the bottom line is, or the most important line is that he wants you to feel what he felt. That simple. It really is. I mean, every poet feels that way. Remember Dickinson. I mean, he wants you to feel what he felt. And he wants you to understand that there's a difference between happening truth and story truth. This is important. And I fall back on Faulkner, as I often do. Faulkner said, to hell with the facts, tell me the truth. What did he mean? I can stand here quietly.
Don't mess up with the story of the facts.
Or
let me feel it.
Let me feel it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the happening truth of, well, let's go to, let me make sure I can skip anything. Let's go to On the Rainy River. If you have a book, if you have yours. I'm going to be asking you guys to find places to read and to read things. So if you would be actively a part and share with someone who doesn't have one.
39.
Claire.
39.
I love mine.
39, if you said there are two, if you have the attachment as a handout, the pages are different from the pages in this second edition.
Eat your hand.
I think that's yours. On the Rainy River. What O'Brien's going to do It's getting painfully personal. Painfully personal. And it sometimes pisses me off when he does it, but we're not on camera, are we?
You are, but
Okay. It annoys me that he does that. What he's doing is drawing you in so that you feel. And he admits it and says it, and he's very good at it, especially when he's reading and performing before a group. But so he begins on the Rainy River with what? Betsy. First sentence. Or two. Or anybody.
This is one story I've never told before, not
not to anyone, not to my parents, not to my brother or sister, not even my wife.
As they say in Maine, horses patootie. I mean, come on. So what's he doing?
He's making us feel like he's telling us a secret special.
Special story.
We're all here.
Just for you. Yeah. And he's going to tell you a story that's a story of truth.
It's not
And
30 minutes.
That's what he, pardon?
I'm just trying to help us out here. We're on the Rainy River, actually starts on page 37.
Is it on the hands up? I don't know where it is. In the, there are 3 editions of this book.
We must have it.
And the one we sent you is from the 3rd edition. If you got the paperback, it's the 2nd.
39 online.
30, thanks. Yeah. And so, what he's doing with the Rainy River, who can remember what happens in the story briefly? You have like 30 seconds.
He leaves home. He's deciding whether to go to Canada or not to avoid the draft. And he finally can't take it. He can't take it anymore. So he goes up north, close to the Canadian
What's he
border.
doing before he flees?
I can't remember exactly. Going around the circle.
That's Norman Bowker.
He's working in a pig farm.
He's a deep covered with slaughter. Okay?
I was up there in the cabin with the guy who met, and he was doing work for nothing, and they got paid, and then gave the money back, and the whole they go fishing. And that's the ultimate part. You go fishing, and he's so close to the Canadian border, and he chickens out.
Ironic, he's working in a slaughter cabin before he decides he can't go to war.
Right.
He stinks of it. He stinks of it so bad he can't get a date. Happening truth or story truth? Take a guess. Story. Go crazy. Story truth. Okay. Tim made a decision to go to Vietnam while he's playing golf. And so, is he going to write this chapter and say, I was playing golf and I decided to go to Vietnam, even though there were arguments on both sides?
At the club.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
Ah, shattered.
No, but what's he done with this story?
It's way the story. It's the epitome of angst.
The angst is unbelievable. What am I going to do? Am I really going to do this? Am I going to go into slaughter? And then you get that. I love the different people on different sides of the river. What was it? The Joint Chiefs of Staff were yelling at him. Jane Fonda and all that stuff. So what he's doing here is giving us story truth as opposed to happening truth. The story, the true story is that he agonized over this decision terribly. And, you know, and I believe that he did. I mean, and so he couldn't just say, well, I decided on the 8th hole, is that on the holes in golf, to go, you know, that might sort of wouldn't piss my dad off for comparison kind of thing. So what I like to do with the time we've got left, which is almost nothing, is do a close reading of How to Tell a True War Story. If you turn to it in whatever source you have, Nancy, do you have one? Yes.
For me, it's 67.
64 in this version.
64 in the new one, yeah.
What are these pictures?
So how does he start? First, this is true. Okay. Really? Yes. No. Okay. none of this. As you know, if you read the story, it's true in his sense, in the sense that he wants us to understand what he writes. He starts out with Rat's letter. You remember this? Rat's letter because Kurt Lemon, his best friend, has been killed, and he writes to Kurt's sister and tells her how much he loved the guy, what a crazy guy he was. You know, I mean, going trick-or-treating in a village naked, all he was what, M16 and balls or something like that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It was a great guy. He loved him, and she never wrote that. And that's part of this story. It's also part of his overall plea, which is an interesting one, and one that I gotta tell you. I don't have to tell you, but I gotta tell you. When I first read On the Rainy River, when the book first came out, and he ended up, as I was a coward, I went to Vietnam, I threw the goddamn book across the room, and I said, "You son of a bitch, you traitor. You traitor," like in the story, you traitor is a pussy. But now I understand, and I understand that what he's doing, and I didn't like being called a coward, so there you go. But anyway, here we go. Kurt Lemon, lemon tree, very pretty. Remember that song? Anybody? Yeah. What happens here? Two boys are goofy.
Yeah, ends up in the tree.
And one of them ends up in the tree. He steps on the 105 round through the trap and is blowing smoke. If the 105 round hit this building, it would flatten. It would flatten this building. So it's feasible that Kurt Lemon ended up in the tree in little shreds, but it's not the point. And so here's what I'd like to do. I'd like someone, and you volunteer to read a couple of sentences. If it's in the handout, it's on page 68. If it's in the paperback, it's on page 71. Peter to his homework. The sentence begins. This is after Kurt Lemon is blown into the trees. The sentence begins, "I remember how peaceful." Anyone? Michael? Not there.
This is 68 in the
68 in the handout, 71 in the, or maybe it's the other way around. Uh-oh. No, it shouldn't be.
What's the sentence, Peter?
I remember how peaceful. Somebody's got it. Warren, you got it.
I'm afraid I do.
Anybody?
Here, Peter has.
I remember how peaceful the twilight was. A deep pinkish red spilled out on the river, which moved without sound. In the morning, we would cross the river and march west into the mountains. The occasion was ripe for a good story.
In the morning, we would cross over the river and march
West into the mountains.
Peter. I want to make a point here, and the point has to do with this story, has to do with O'Brien's artistry, and has to do with several other stories in this book. If you remember the things they carried the story about a lieutenant who knows that he's been fantasizing about a girl who never loved him and ignoring his troops while doing so because he's afraid. Fear is a huge thing in combat and in war. All through the first story, he intersperses when Ted Lavender was shot. That's what's going on in the lieutenant's mind. Here's what's going on in the narrator's mind in this story. Anticipation of combat is worse than combat itself. I'm telling you, it's God's truth. If you're an athlete, you know the anticipation of the game. Once you get in the game, it's okay. But if you get in combat, anticipation of combat is worse than itself. This is going through the narrator's mind. Tomorrow we go into the mountains. Tomorrow we go into the mountains. All through this story. It's subtle and it's quiet, but I think it's effective. Then we get these guys, this 6-man group who go a listening post in the mountains. Remember this?
Yeah.
Anybody?
We just listened.
You just listen. And what did they hear?
Music party.
Python voice
Cocktail
club.
party,
Yeah.
chamber music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glee club.
And a like Glee club. Yeah. A group cocktail party. All these things. They're fantasizing what makes them hear this stuff while they're in the mountains in the fall in enemy territory. Fear. Purity. Yeah. And so what do? They move to the bars, which is what we did. Which is why one of the reasons we're ashamed of a lot of stuff we did. Like burning a village when one guy is shot, that kind of thing. But the point is, and he's got another point here, and that is listen. You gotta listen. Page 70 in the handout, page 73 in the Leanne, you want to do the which one do you have? Paperback?
I have
Which paperback?
73.
Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the handout.
Okay.
And the sentence begins, and again there was some silence.
That's 73 in this one.
Thank you.
It's 70.
And then 73, 76. And I remember sitting, I think, yeah, I remember sitting. 73 would be in the handout, 76 would be in the paper. I think.
Is this being a paragraph? When you say
It
again,
began-
there was some.
And I remember sitting. I don't have my books with me.
76.
The first one, no, you guys have.
Again, there was some.
The first one is, again, there was some silence. Read.
I mean, what do you tell me when to start? Again, this is page 70 of these things. Again, there was some silence as visual sailors looked out on the river. The dark was coming on hard now, and off to the west, I could see the mountains rising in silhouette until the mysteries and unknowns, all the mysteries and unknowns. The next part, Sanders said quietly, you won't believe. And maybe not, I said.
Scared of the mountains again, and then 73 and 76, and I remember sitting.
And I remember sitting at my foxhole that night, watching the shadows of Quang Nai, thinking about the coming day and how we would cross the river and march west into the mountains, all the ways I might die, all the things I did not understand.
Yes. So he's weaving these fearful thoughts into the story because that's what every soldier is thinking about. What's coming tomorrow? I'm scared. I'm really scared. But I can't talk about it. And then we get the infamous baby DC water buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Now we got a communist water buffalo, okay? Okay, we do. We have a communist water buffalo. In the mountains, water buffaloes? No. What happens here?
Maybe it was a yak.
Or a llama.
But no, it's like, and it's a baby one.
Yeah.
Right. It's gotta
It's gotta be a baby one.
It's gotta be a baby.
Yeah.
It's taking a piece off at a time.
And Kylie does what?
He's
Shoots her again and again and again
Little
and
parts of
again.
it here.
Say again. Yeah.
Little parts at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing, and the creature makes.
Not a second.
And they pick him up and do what with him?
Put them
Put
down
it
in
in
the
the
water.
well.
Put him in the well, which destroys the village water supply. Yeah, so we got a really reasonable response to someone stepping on a moving trap. No, we don't.
Well, in a way it is. I mean, right, Peter?
Reasonable? I mean, I can understand it, I honestly can, but.
I mean, seriously.
I know what you mean, but he does a lot of
He
that.
does a lot of shooting.
A lot of.
I mean, in that state of mind, I mean, yes, reading about it is despicable and disgusting. But if you, his point in writing this is to put you into his place, and
He
it
makes you
makes
feel.
sense to me.
He makes you feel.
Throw it in and poison
Yes.
your water.
He does. He does. And I think it works. I really do. And I think it's despicable and scary and sad. But it makes me understand how upset Rat Conley was and how upset I was on a couple of occasions. So in this How to Tell a True War Story, tell me what he says about how to tell a true war story. Anybody.
I'm guessing. On the top of page 77, he says the truths are contradictory. It can be argued, for instance, that war is grotesque, but in truth, war is also beautiful. For all its horrors, can't help but gape at the awful majesty of combat. And then he goes on. But what I highlighted and what struck me was it commands you to heed it, yes, but your eyes do not. Like a killer forest fire, like cancer under a microscope, any battle or bombing raid or artillery barrage has the aesthetic purity of absolute moral indifference.
And there is no
A
moral.
powerful, implacable beauty. And a true war story will tell the truth about this. Though the truth isn't true. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, no. What else does he say? He says that a true war story objectifies your experience so that you can separate yourself from it, which I think is an important thing to say. What else? There are several. I'm just.
One line that really struck me was that a true war story makes the stomach bleed.
Yeah, absolutely. Not the mind. Not the mind, because when you get to a certain point in warfare, the mind is impertinent. Doesn't count because nothing that's going on around you makes sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. So that's my favorite. Makes the stomach bleed, you know, and say gut feeling. But he's better than that. Yeah. Oh man, I'm on time. Here we go. The last two paragraphs of that story bear reading aloud, I think. And Hallie, would you do one?
Sure.
The second to last? And
Yes.
Michael, do the last? Page, let's get Mike on the page.
85 in this book.
It's 81.
Yeah.
81 years down. Did you want me to start with but you can't say that?
I think so.
Or I'll
It's
first
the
read
penultimate
before it.
paragraph.
It wasn't a war story, it was a love story, but you can't say that. All you can do is tell it one more time, patiently, adding and subtracting, making up a few things to get at the real truth. No Mitchell Sanders, you tell her, no lemon, no
Just
rat
a little
pie.
old lady who comes up to him and says, it's really sad.
No,
Sorry.
oh, it's okay. No trail junction, no baby buffalo, no vines or moss or white blossoms. Beginning to end, you tell her, it's all made up. Every goddamn detail. The mountains and the river, and especially that poor dumb baby buffalo. None of it happened. None of it. And even if it did happen, it didn't happen in the mountains. It happened in this little village on the Batangan Peninsula, and it was raining like crazy. And one night, a guy named Stig Harris woke up screaming with a leech on his tongue. You can tell a true war story if you just keep on telling it.
And in the end, of course, a true war story is never about war. It's about sunlight. It's about the special way that dawn spreads out on a river when you know you must cross the river and march into the mountains and do things you are afraid of. It's about love and memory. It's about sorrow. It's about sisters who never write back and people who never listen.
Nice. Nicely written. What are you up to these days? Yeah, any questions about things they carry before we take a little break? Then we'll come back and do Q and A about anything you want. Vietnam, Tim O'Brien, our friendship. Holly can tell you about his magic tricks. My book, and my Andrew released great parts of it. Is that the paper? Oh no! Anyone got the paperback of? I'd like to see it. They reissued it in paper.
The dark cover, it's a black.
It's a black
cover.
Yeah, Petraeus, General Petraeus. No, it's his doing. Yeah. So let's take a break. Get something to eat. 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
5 minutes, yeah.
Two minutes?
Yeah.
Shall we start? Yeah, let's start.
With a
Wow.
One thing that came up on email was that Andrew was in Cambodia at the same time I was, but kind of in a different.
I was a tourist student traveling, I had no idea we were fighting the other side of the world. I was, seeing Uncle Lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure my parents didn't know.
Oh, I hope not.
No one did, right?
I hope not. I ran into a tourist one time, right across the border. Yeah, nice guy.
So were you persona for Hawken, or were you like, what the heck's this guy doing here?
Not at all. Not at all. There weren't many tourists there.
Nobody in Cambodia knew what was going on.
In the western part of the country, they hadn't hit the western part yet. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Are we good questions here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so in reading in your part, Lost for State, you're talking about this sort of
Not my title, by the way.
a cruise.
Okay. I said, what this sounds like. What's his name?
Yeah, Harrison
Indiana
Ford.
Jones. She said, yeah, that's right. But the reason I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the reason I mentioned that is because the title is embarrassing to me. My soldiers were not mercenaries. They were not. There was nothing silly about them.
Well, my question was, if you're reading this and you have this group of people that you met 2 weeks earlier and communists, and you mentioned at some point that, how do we trust them? How, in a situation like that, when people were so easily defecting, were you able to sense if your gut would be correct?
Pretty good question. I'm going to tell you the truth, I don't know. I just did. I believe Changa was the leader of the group. He was probably the oldest, probably 25, 26. Most of them were in their teens, early, mid to late teens. I think the most honest I could be on this one is that I had to believe that they wouldn't kill me.
How about another situation? How do you learn your gut for not just you, but anyone, if you've got these people so rapidly defecting and, 1 month they're Viet Cong, next month they're not?
They don't speak English.
They're not mercenaries.
They don't
Yes.
speak, and they weren't mercenaries, and they didn't speak English. We spoke with Pat's mom. When they called, Sarah says, Dad, Cambodian. A lot of it is because I learned to understand that they were not voluntary Viet Cong. They didn't choose Viet Cong. They didn't know what communism was. They didn't know what
So you're saying they were just villagers who were.
They're villagers who were conscripted and trying to protect their families.
Why side with you? Why side?
Why they make us rich?
Why side with the Americans?
Money and guns.
What's happening
So
right now is really
Oh, absolutely.
So you're saying there was money? So there was money?
It was money, yeah, but I mean, the VC didn't pay them.
$50 for your head. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, come on. $50, what a deal for this. No, let me answer the question first. How do I do this with story of truth? They didn't, they were conscripted by the Viet Cong, and if they didn't serve the Viet Cong, the family would be punished, which often happened. But I was in a race war. I was not in the war. I was in a war between Cambodians and Vietnamese. Sure and simple. The original title of this book was The Master's Tea. Don't spill the Master's Tea. Tim O'Brien thought this is his idea. So I went with it. But the Master's Tea was, don't spill the Master's Tea, cocktail. Cambodians in villages cooked on fireplaces, open fireplaces with 3 large stones in a triangle. And on top of those stones was a steel or iron, whatever it would be, platter, and pots on it, cook eggs on it, do all sorts of things. When the Vietnamese were enslaving the Khmer in this part of the world in the 1940s, they had them digging the Vintage Canal, which would later separate Cambodia from Vietnam because of the French. But every day, one of the guards would pick 3 guys out of the slave labor gangs, the Khmer Cambodian gangs, the darker skinned ones, the Khmer, and have them dig a hole the size of the middle of this room, and have 3 of them stand in the hole with their backs to one another. And then they fill in the hole, and they light a fire among their 3 heads, and put the plate on there, and put a teapot on there.
Wait, I missed them. They put their heads into the.
Right, they were the 3 rocks, if you will, or
Right.
they were the standheads of the
Their
rocks.
heads.
And they were facing outward. And they would, of course, once the fire got going, they would, of course, try to struggle against it. And the Vietnamese mocked them, saying, "Pap Teong, don't spill the master's tea." And that's the kind of thing these guys were responding to. I guess you'd say it's one of the reasons they came to our side. But I could give them a lot of money. I could give them guns, and I could protect their town. And I could call in airstrikes, which they really liked. And I could call in artillery, which they liked. So when we went out as a group, like in that first chapter, in that one we didn't have a radio. I don't think we really did that time, but generally speaking, we had a radio, and I could call for air. Or I wouldn't get air, but I could call first. Once in a while. So their loyalty, and I moved their families into our compound so that they were protected. We moved their families in, and so their loyalty was totally practical. Totally practical. They paid for it with their lives, but for the time being, it's practical.
So, Peter, the thing that's so hard for me to fathom, maybe it's because it was so fanciful to me, but you have to be, as you say, thinking with your stomach and not with your head. But if I try to put myself here, I'm like, after 30 seconds, who's thinking this shit up? I gotta get out of here. And I don't know, it's just, why didn't that take over you, or did it?
I don't think that leaving was an option. It comes right down to that. I wonder often, the last book I did was about the Civil War, and I wonder often why those guys walked shoulder to shoulder across open fields into certain death. Because they're their cousins and their neighbors, and you couldn't run away.
Well, think of Braveheart, With the Irish first, because they're the most expendable. Can I ask you something? Okay, so essentially, this issue of them, you're having to trust them, is exactly the same thing that's going on today. In Afghanistan.
Just like betrays.
Blah, blah, blah. However,
No man. No man. You want to talk to me or Tim O'Brien about Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, all you're going to get is an earful of foul language. Anger. Outrage. Absolute outrage. Absolutely. I mean, there's no.
Why is this?
Why are we doing it?
No, why are we repeating the same mistakes?
I mean, I'm totally serious. I have no clue. It doesn't make any sense to me. You talk to any Vietnam veteran, combat veteran, okay? And maybe not the American Legion guys, sorry, but it's true. They faced 2 wars. It's been wars of convenience, like the Vietnam War was. And when my friends were killed, We said we didn't say they were killed. We said they were wasted, and they were. They were wasted. Michael Dean. I mean, yeah, sorry.
Wait, I just, what seems a little tiny bit different to me is if I had a kid who had been died, slaughtered, murdered in Fallujah, and we walk out and we leave, and then we go back in and we're in Fallujah again. Nothing, I mean, really, Peter, it's so.
But this generation is fighting wars and not have parents in any war.
What?
This generation whose kids are in the war weren't in any wars themselves.
But the
They were
generation
too
that sent us
young
to
to be in war.
Vietnam were World War II, the conflict.
Exactly, and that's why they have conflict with that. Right now, the generation, I think, that's serving in the Middle East has not had parents that have fought in any war.
They had grandparents. They had grandparents.
They don't have it all. Maybe grandparents, but that's a generation ago.
But who are the people who are in the military in the United States?
Oh,
We
that's a
don't have
good
a- We don't have a
But that's their job.
We have-
War is.
But they are doing
These
it
are
because
employed.
they need a job. Right.
It's
different. It's different from when Peter was
fighting for the law.
And there are, in the contemporary military, there are a lot of grandchildren of military people. There's that long military pride thing that I inherited, my son inherited.
But are they
Did with the
officers?
Academy.
Peter, are they officers?
You guys were talking about?
Who have the long military history?
Not necessarily, no.
They're infantry?
Well, yeah, probably a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, you know, put silver wings on my son's chest. Yeah, I thought, you know, there's a, they're like Tim O'Brien says, the contradictions are staggering. Absolutely staggering. I mean,
The one thing we have learned is once you go into these places, you really can't get out. You can't get out.
And the
Once you
reason-
get out,
Yeah.
it goes back to what it was when you got in.
and the reason for being there doesn't matter anymore. All that
You know,
matters
you forget why
is your friends. Yeah.
you forget.
And you're totally secure.
People think that we went into Iraq because it was 9/11. It had nothing to do with it.
No, and poor General Powell suffered for that one. He was tricked. Yeah, so, more cheerful?
So, what do you think of the new tradition of war literature that's come out of Iraq and Afghanistan? Like, yeah, I haven't read it yet.
I own it, and I
But
read
we
the
have-
first two stories.
What's it
called?
Redeployment, it won the
National Book Award.
National Book Award.
Did it win it, or?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
it's straight up on it. Oh, yeah, Phil Clay,
Yeah,
K-L-A-Y.
KLAY. I have it.
Redeployment.
Yeah, it's a collection of
And-
stories.
I started it, okay, I can be personal with you, because we haven't been for how many years. I've gotten to the point now at which I don't really like reading about war. I'm super,
How long did it take you?
I'm sorry,
How long did that take you? Seriously.
too long.
Isn't that all you write about?
Not anymore.
But 30 years, 40.
Closer to 50 pounds, yeah. Yeah.
How
I mean,
many of
I
us
don't know,
have
I
seen
mean,
war like that? I mean, really, how many of us have looked into that horror face? Not me.
I mean,
I can't imagine how you're able to write about anything else.
So how many people did you personally know, who died in that?
None. We were just none,
That's the point, though.
let alone fought in it.
But you didn't even know anyone who died.
No. No, World War II is different.
I know, but what I'm saying is.
Right, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think when you, I don't know, I'm just gonna say I'm a lucky sperm pup. I didn't have to go to war.
I was listening to Country Joe McDonald.
I had a POW bracelet, and I remember he was named Colonel Richardson, and he was from Seattle, Washington, and he never was found. But I wore that bracelet, and that was my biggest connection with it, but it was so sad. I do remember watching the reels on the news when all the soldiers would come back and looking for his name, and it was never there.
Magically, your dad.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
More fun question. How did you find people like the Papa Sands who led you around, or Jim O'Brien in his book? Those people who could just footpath.
You know, that's got a hell of a lot to do with why I'm alive. My
How did
guys
you
were
find them? I didn't
former,
know
my
it
guys were former BC, they knew where the mines were.
Who would walk you along the edges?
Absolutely.
But how
They
they-
say, hey, Tucker, you don't want to go that way, man. Okay.
No,
They knew because their cousin put it out there. The night before, you know, we'd sit down at the table in the afternoon, and I said, okay, I've got a target here. And this is what we did. We targeted the BC infrastructure, okay?
But they don't have cell phones back then. How are they communicating?
Cell phones. We have telephones.
Exactly. How are they communicating?
But we sit down at a table. I remember one time, Chow, we were sitting down there. Chow Craig was one of my favorites. He was the youngest, I think he was 14. Wicked, an unbelievable machine gun guy. But anyway, we're sitting there telling, I said, okay, I got this girl, you know, this woman, she's a tax collector. She's also a pain in the ass. She's got a couple of people killed. I think we know where she is. And I think we should go get her. And they all went, and I said, what? And Chow Craig said, she's my cousin. And I said, okay. We're not a target. It was that intricate that,
It's kind of like the east side of Cleveland.
Scary.
yeah, we're going to get a Murphy tonight. Oh, wait a minute.
So you said that you're not writing about war anymore. What are you writing about?
I'm not supposed to say because it jinxes you, but
What are you thinking about then?
I'm thinking about, that's a,
We're gonna write a book with your baby, right?
I'm thinking about how I've gotten this far and still felt like the new guy in the boy. And that's what I'm writing about.
No, because you're blessed.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I don't know if it's cool or not, I don't know, but you know, I'm over the war stuff for tons of reasons, mostly because of Molly. And I had PTSD for 25 years since she got me over it. So
Toast to Holly.
Would it be nice for every high school class was like this? Oh, geometry.
You know, for O'Brien's book, for the casual reader, which is myself, does it matter what's true and what's not true?
It depends on where that is.
Doesn't matter.
It depends on the, no, that's an incredibly important question, and it depends on if it matters to you. Can I answer it with a story? And you know, but okay. Tim's been to Hawken 3 times, and each time he did a talk, he went, you know, did classes and did Skypes and stuff like that. And one class, we sat at square tables like this, and Tim was sitting, say, here, and I was sitting across the room. And some kid said, so, Raymond Wayne is his name. You know, Jake's class. Yeah. So Raymond said, so, it's the end of the conversation. It's all about truth and not true. And Raymond said, so, is there anything in this book that's true? That's actually true? And Tim leaned back and he said, okay, I don't normally answer this question, but I will. The girl Linda in the end, if you read the book, you know about it. The book ends with a love affair between 2 9-year-olds. And affair is the wrong word to use. But he said the girl Linda is her real name's Ruby. I couldn't use Ruby. You know, I could call it Ruby 9. Really did die of a brain tumor. And I really did love her. And we were really close when we were little. Her mom, he said he was worried that he put Linda, who's obviously Ruby in his book, because he was worried about her family. But his mom sent him a letter, and this must have been late 80s, mid 80s. was kind of, it came on paper, it was perforated on the edges, remember that? With a green line, a white line, a green line, a white line, that kind of thing.
Computer based.
Computer paper, thank you. And inside were two black and white photographs, and one was of him and Ruby standing on the porch that's mentioned in the book, and the other one was of their bicycles. And she said, well, I'd like you to have these. I really like how you handled it. I was proud, you know, that Ruby was included. And Tim said, well, I couldn't keep them. So I sent the pictures back and said, I can't keep these. I think she said, I'm not remembering this for sure, but I think he said, she said, these are the only two pictures that she had of the two of them. And she sent them back again. And he looked over at me and he said, pretty good. Perforated paper, green line, white line, green line, white line, pretty nice, eh? And Ruby pushed herself up at the table. He said, do you mean to tell me that you just made that up? You made that all up? And Tim said, you haven't been listening. Does that answer your question?
Magic trick complete.
Gotcha. Have a nice night, you guys. Stay warm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.